Okay, this is a weekly review and key lessons for the week of March 12th, 2024. Okay, this is the key lessons and weekly review for the week of March 12th, 2024. So the first lesson is to be more aggressive with execution when the STF bias is with you. Adjust your execution to be more aggressive. You need to see strong and clear signs against the bias when trading against it. You can execute at more aggressive location when trading with the bias, and when the STF bias is neutral, seek stronger zones. So there's a couple of places here where this was key. When you're trading with the STF bias or a larger time frame pattern, you can be more aggressive. So in this case, in the overnight session, there was a failed breakdown, and you can be more aggressive. You can trade these pullbacks more aggressively, and you don't need to have a huge stop. Like your stop can be at 31. You can be trading 40, 39. You could even have your stop really. You can look into this smaller area here and find a place to put your stop that's more aggressive so that you can make the risk reward work out. And then this is another example where you had the failed breakdown. You don't need the more conservative entry back near the rejection. You can take an entry that is a little more aggressive. And then the really good example this week is this pullback. This was confusing to me because we were testing the higher time frame resistance, but we tested it, pulled back, tested it, pulled back, and the bias was so strong here, and the price action was so strong. Look what the overnight did, and then just straight up, straight up, straight up. This is a very good trade to be aggressive on, thinking there's going to be a breakout, and we may be going to the all-time high. So the risk reward here is huge. You need to be aggressive. Okay, just to review, the most important bias for day trading is the STF bias, and the second most important bias is the intraday or daytime frame bias. And the four key components to focus on all the time to understand if they're with you or against you are the STF bias, the larger time frame pattern, the intraday bias, and the strength and nature of the zones that you're approaching and whether they might hold. The ITF bias is relevant to the overall bigger picture environment for failed breakdowns and failed breakouts, and just for setting targets. If you're setting targets against, then you want them to be more conservative. If you're setting targets with, then you can be a little more aggressive. And then the ITF bias is also relevant when things get really stretched against it, or you're hitting a zone that's an ITF zone. So when the environment is clearly bullish or clearly bearish, you can anticipate failed breakdowns. You can trade them. You can put orders at the zone. This is a good example. Is this PPI break? It hit a great zone, and that can definitely be traded. And then another good example is this breakdown on Friday that traded into the previous breakout. The environment's bullish. Yeah, it's a breakdown, but you can anticipate this being a good fade and possibly a failed breakdown. It's just going to go right back up. Okay, just to reiterate an important point, on Tuesday, I was interested in going along on a retest. So this thing spiked all the way down to 60, 16, and then came all the way back up to 50. So I was thinking, okay, I could probably go back down and retest these lows, and it would still be a failed breakout. And so I was waiting down here 35, 33. So I was conservative. Now I saw the clear failed breakdown pattern. Okay, so now I need to be trading with that pattern. The difference is I am trading with the pattern. I'm just not trading aggressively, and that is the big problem. So you can be more aggressive with the larger time frame pattern, move entry, and have an aggressive stop. I think I said that a couple times already. But so you can just be aggressive with this pattern, or you can just be aggressive when the bias is with you. So there were two situations this week where you could have had an order in ahead of the report, and there's specific reasons. Either you're with the bias, or you're very exhausted at a larger zone. So this was a larger time frame zone. It was this big breakout. It was this big breakout here, and this was kind of a make or break spot. So you can have an order here because in general the bias is bullish. The overall bias is bullish. If it was to get down here, this is sort of ITF territory, although that's a little lower, but still it's extended with the ITF and the STF. Technically it's a breakdown and there's a change in bias here, but you're in a bullish environment. So discounting this a little bit. And then the other one, this was more or less with the environment, but then the other one is this one, which was at another higher time frame zone, large time frame zone, and this went from 03 back down to 87, so nothing great, but the environment is immensely bullish, but there's still high odds of a reaction here, and if you just set this up in a way to try and capture just the high odds move down, then you can pick up 1.5 R, and it's just you can take less R because the odds are so high of a reaction. Okay, and a little bit of way you might be able to identify when traders are getting trapped is here the market was grinding lower, but it wasn't going lower, and it was going a little bit lower, but the tick was below zero and looked really ugly, and this thing looked like it was just going to crack here, but it didn't crack, and so then this is a sign, like other people see this and they get emboldened here, and if this doesn't go, then there's a good chance that these guys are trapped and that you're going to get to go the other way, and plus with the environment. So if you were not willing to trade it down here because you wanted to go lower, when it starts to break out after having all that bearishness, then you can still get in at 46 with your stop at 40 is a 6-point stop, and try and ride the bullish environment back up. So this is a lesson from Wednesday. So one of the aggressive zones was down here, and then I think the ideal zone was down here. There was another zone in here, but this was aggressive support, and holding aggressive support is a signal, right? Is a signal. So even though you're going back up to larger time frame resistance, it's now been tested twice. It can break. The first sign that it can break is you're holding aggressive support. So we held aggressive support, wide range bars up. This is probably likely to break. It's not another, trade until broken kind of thing. The environment's very bullish. It's against the bias. It's against the now intraday bias that is now shaping up to be bullish because of it held the aggressive support. You don't even have to look at tick or advanced decline to know that if it holds aggressive support, that it's strong and that you want to trade with it or get out of the way. All right, tick testing the zero line when the bias is clear. So you had tick hitting the zero line right around here, and you got a clear bullish bias. The whole environment is basically bullish. You're testing 24-hour VWAP, which is a key trend area when the market is in a trend, and it's an aggressive area. Tick is at zero. This is also 10 o'clock, which is the market a lot of times will tend to reverse around 10 o'clock from anywhere from 9:50 to 10:15. So the zero line and all that just adds to confluence. So I want to talk about the complexity of the market up here. So bias is clear. The bias is bullish. But at the same time, we took out the high. That's bullish too. But there's a huge exhaustion. So you've got this situation where you've got exhaustion. So pullbacks are not necessarily a good location because the market is so extended. And rallying and shorting after the market has dropped is no good because you're in a bullish environment. And then shorting new highs is no good because then you've got time frame alignment. So basically you're trading longs at aggressive location, you're trading shorts at aggressive location, and really what you need to do is be patient and wait for really good exhaustion or a really good zone or for new structure to develop. And so there's not really a lot of A+ setups after this giant move. You had this small consolidation, breakout. Okay, yeah, you have a base here, but you're way extended on the larger time frame. You're extended on the shorter time frame. There's not a lot of odds in being aggressive. And the thing that happens a lot is that people miss this move. They're bearish, and then after this, then they're bullish, and then all the fuel's gone, and this is just choppy, messy, kind of drudgy trading. So I'm just going to read what I wrote here because I think it's important to get this whole thing on here. The larger time frame exhaustion and time frame alignment is a complex day trading environment that you must approach with caution because a daytime frame pullback will not change the structure at all. Good location trades are against the time frame alignment and low odds, so that would be shorting up at higher highs. To short, wait for pullback trades that are aggressive location or lower odds. To short, wait for some trend line break or structural break, then find a good location with the intraday support. For longs, wait for a good location or exhaustion, or wait a few days for new valid structure to develop. You must be flexible and open and focus on the 5-minute time frame to see who's in control. There is no larger structure to lean on. The other option is just don't trade. You can just wait, and you can get chopped up, so you can just wait. And then in terms of patterns, this is sort of like another pattern. This is basically larger time frame exhaustion and no good support below. So there's a reason not to trade here because you've got bias, but you don't have any structure to lean on. All this structure is sort of flimsy until this zone where there's a breakout. Lastly, if ES and NQ are both hitting higher time frame resistance or both doing the same thing, there's no extra edge or weight added from NQ. NQ would get more weight if it was doing something different, or if it had a significant break or breakout, or if it had big relative strength, or something different. If it's testing larger time frame resistance just like ES is, then it's really adding nothing other than it's doing the same thing.